Libra. Welcome to your mid-December reading. It's really your Jupiter moves into Aries reading. It's such an important transit. It's worth waiting for. And for you, especially if you're a Libra rising, it's a really big deal. Jupiter will enhance your life in a very practical way, and I think it's a way that you need. So let's have a serious conversation, huh? I know. Oh no. Serious conversation. Let's talk about safety. Let's talk about feeling safe. Let's talk about feeling emotionally safe. Physically safe, yes, of course. The sun has moved into Capricorn and, you want to feel physically cozy and safe. But also let's talk about emotional safety. Let's talk about how it feels when cardinal air has the ground beneath its feet. Let's talk about how much can get done when there is a grounding, humbling influence in Libra's life. Someone who is so fixed, so grounded that they make you see where you are not taking it serious enough. They make you see where your charm isn't covering the holes. They can help you win because they see all the things that you don't see. In some ways, this person, especially if this is a confidant, someone you work with, a business partner, a parent, a professor, in a very real way, they're smarter than you. And you have so much you can learn from them about what to do with feeling emotionally afraid. What steps you can take, how you can remedy that, how you can parlay that fear into great success. I think for you, it's easy right now to get stuck in anxiety because your priorities need to shift, but I think you're the last one to get the memo. So that makes it hard, It's like, okay, I really want to be doing the right thing. I want to be doing all the things I'm supposed to be doing, but it just feels like, like I missed a memo. Like, why is everybody else on the same page and I'm the one that doesn't know what's going on? I'm supposed to know what's going on. I'm smart enough to know what's going on. I think that when we're afraid, it shows so much more than we think it does. And cardinal signs it's kind of hard to watch you guys be afraid and confused because we're not used to seeing you that way. Things are generally not easier, but simpler, if that makes sense for you. What do I mean by that? Cardinal energy has a way of going, in a straight line. Makes it simple. So the 7 of Cups is like, 10 of Swords, 7 of Cups is like, what the fuck is actually going on? Like, why can't I crack this? Why can't I figure this out? I'm smart enough to do this. I'm smart enough for my life to look the way I want it to look. And this Temperance card is staring you in the face, and for good reason, because there's a lot of humility. A lot more humility to Sagittarians than people think. Sagittarians are the everyday man. Ask anyone that knows them. They're the everyday guy and gal, the gal next door, the guy walking down the street, the guy you'd have a beer with, the girl next door who you'd love to marry. They're decent, approachable people. And for the most part, when they're not off charming the pants off of everybody, they're actually pretty good. And that goodness comes from that everyday quality. It's humility. The reason Sagittarians have an easy time with the world is because they're of the world. Not above it, not below it. Just right there. Hi, hello, I can be your friend. Now, as a Libra, you understand this. Who's better at making friends than you? But the hierarchical nature of your friendships and all your interpersonal relationships is really coming into relief right now. You can see it so clearly. And what do you see? How does that make you feel? Because for the most part, having a hierarchical sense of friendship and relationships and people who are more important than others is what I mean. This works really well for the way that Libras like to strategize socially and financially. But that's, I think, where the disconnect is. There's something a little bit bloodless about that, Libra. And we're entering a time, we knew this was happening, yeah? But now Saturn's going to move as well. We're entering a time where to follow where we're going requires more than just dominance, brute force, brute cardinal air. It requires something more silly. It requires love. It requires offering back to the hierarchy, if you will, to make yourself in the world. You have to become of the world, and this is a very hard lesson for you. And that's okay. Some of you are going to have to learn that the world is not above you. You are not less than the world. And some of you are going to have to learn that the world is not below you. You are not more than the world. Instead, you are, as my Aries mother likes to say, you are of the world, so you should walk gently upon it, because one day you got to go in it. And that lesson either comes real smooth and easy because you're like that anyway, or it's taking a little, it's taking its time. Either way, that initial fear that when we started off talking about, is addressed. That flightiness in spirit, that trembling of sorts that happens when Libra doesn't feel like anyone is there. It's soothed. It's comforted. You come into 2023 feeling like you've learned something profound, or like the world just won't stop beating the shit out of you. It will all be directly correlated with your level of humility. Now, what does that mean? Let's talk about that. Humility, has a face that I don't think you've ever thought of. And that's not being the peacemaker. A lot of times when you do that type of stuff, it's out of this sense of superiority. You know it's good, you know it's better, you can do this, you can connect this, you can do that, you can make it all do what you want it to do. That's okay, all cardinal signs are like this, don't take it personally. In many situations, humility will look like you stepping back and not keeping the peace and letting the chaos ensue. Wait, what are you saying? You saying I keep the peace out of a sense of superiority? Yes, that's what I'm saying. And I'm saying that for nobody but you, it's a prison. And it's a prison you can easily walk out of now, straight into spring 2023. You got some time. You can pace around some more if you want and be mad, or you can just, walk out the unlocked door. Either way, we're going to get there. And what's there? When you start taking actions based on your new priorities, which today is the beginning of Capricorn season, it begins as of today. As your actions start to match up with these new priorities, and what are these priorities? Well, you're going to have to figure that out for yourself. Whatever happened to you that finally threw a wrench in that, in that belief that you don't need to reflect on self. Now that that's gone, whatever did this to you, whatever shattered that belief, go for it. Look into it, lean into it, figure it out. Run towards your faults, run towards your flaws. Figure out how you can reverse them, how you can make them better, how you can overcome them. There's no reason to be afraid anymore. The guise of perfection is shattered. Woohoo! Rejoice, you're not perfect. So fucking what? We already knew that. You're the only one who didn't know. It's okay, relax. It's okay. You're allowed to not be perfect. The only time you not being perfect is distasteful when you won't allow yourself to be imperfect. The only time it's cringe is when you won't allow yourself to be human. Because what are we in the running for here? What are you trying to be? Not human, neo-human, subhuman? What? Sometimes it's okay to just be regular. Sometimes being regular gives you back your peace of mind, but also resets your priorities. Yes, air signs, we love being in the clouds. We dig it. But the type of fear, the type of insecurity, the type of doubts that you're experiencing right now, the clouds aren't going to solve it. You need honesty. You need a boost. That's for sure. You know, somebody to like kind of shine, probably a Leo, to shine a light in your face and be like, hey, you're going about this wrong. Right? There's a way, for example, Libra, there's a way for you to be wrong about something and not take it personally. Something you're going to figure out in January. Regardless, the fear is addressed. That need for security, the security that can't be bought, can't be stolen, it can't be taken, it can't be bartered. But you have to, there's a price for it, for that security. I shouldn't have said it can't be bought. It is traded for. There is a price you pay. Yes, there is. And that price you pay is your time. Your honesty, your attention, your humility. And if you engage in this practice, you'll start to get some of that mojo back, some of that power back. Oh yeah. And just like that, this Gemini energy shows up to help you out. But even that Gemini energy can't help you out if you decided long ago that there's no room for growth. Which is to say that you decided a long time ago that you don't make mistakes, which is to say that you can't acknowledge any of your mistakes because then the veneer of perfection will be shattered, which is to say, stop. Come hang out with the rest of us. It's like fun as shit. It's normal. We do normal things. It's wild how fun normal can be. And that's perhaps the takeaway here. One of the things where you're saying, Umber, you're saying my priorities are going to be reset now that we're in Capricorn season, but what priorities? Where? Maybe that's a part of it. Goes along with everything we've been talking about. To enjoy the simple pleasures in life. Not because they're simple, but because they're truly the most meaningful. To be led by our feelings, by our wounds, by the parts of us that are calling out for something, some kind of soothing or other. And to not want to inundate ourselves with all sorts of vices to fill those holes, but instead to nurture those wounds, those puncture wounds. And perhaps a big part of that is also a sense of solitude. Perhaps the first step to not making yourself master of the peace, master of keeping the peace, is to recede a little bit. Take some time. The worst part about Libra keeping the peace is that no one appreciates it. Let them have a go at it. Let them see how easy it is to wrangle a group of children. And if you're out there thinking, isn't there anything outside of this? There's got to be something more. Life, it can't just be this. And like I said last month, you know, a lot of that has to do with getting to the top of the mountain and not understanding what the other side is going to look like. And what happens after the pinnacle of success, and what does it mean? Because once you break the facade of success, right? It's like when the dog catches the carrot or the fake chicken at the race. Once the dog figures out it's plastic, the dog never runs again. Doesn't want to. What the fuck is the motivation? Many of you may feel that way now. And many of you may be highly disillusioned by this sense of, you know, security and success that everyone told you would make you feel better. And instead, all it did was bring up this emotional insecurity, this fear, this anxiety. One that tells us that the work of living and working on ourselves is never done. But also that there is a balance being sought here, which is your specialty, and therefore the thing you like to avoid most. But maybe it is time to do a little work. Sure, you've made some mistakes, and sure, you're finding it hard to get back up on the horse, but of course you will. But who gets back up on the horse? I don't think the person you are now. I think that's someone new, someone who has realized a lot, and someone who has fundamentally changed enough that this horse isn't looking at you crazy anymore. Like, I know you're not trying to charge me into this. What is your problem? And that change, I would say, if I had to guess, either has to do with you easily absorbing this message, right, from everything around you that happens for the next 4 weeks of like humility, being real cool with it. Or it's Cardinal Earth. Cardinal Earth is going to get its way. It's going to teach you one way or another. You know, this is the Saturnian energy. We've been dealing with it forever. It's still here. You either absorb the lesson or you have to learn it in more and more harsh ways, because it has to be integrated one way or another. That's what we're doing here. So, if you're feeling uneasy, it's not going to last long. The next 4 weeks will be very good for that. You'll find your feet. And when you do, you'll have to make some hard decisions about the future. And you'll have to make some sense of the pain and confusion that you're feeling. And when you get to the end of it all, and you realize that there are some things that you need to start doing differently, your priorities will start to match up with what you've learned from your mistakes. Capricorn season will give you all the energy you need to make the right changes and to see things clearly and not be too hard on yourself. And you can move forward. Perhaps not running the race you were, but forward nonetheless. A new road. Don't be scared. Look at Gemini. I'm walking down a new road every day. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry. Everybody can use a change. It's only going to help you evolve. Believe in yourself. Love you.